Okay, once you have all these pieces that are going to be roof rafters set up, and it's one big group, and inside that group there should be no groups inside the group. It's just like dots, raw objects inside the group. Okay, so this is a little odd because for this to work right, even though we started with this red rafter in the middle at 30 degrees, when we spin it out, it actually changes. If you were looking at it from the side, when it was in the middle, it looked like kind of a steeper, excuse me, it looks not as steep. It would be like this. But when you spin it out, now it looks like this. So oddly enough, these guys don't rotate down 30 degrees. I just checked the angle. So what's going to happen is, as long as these guys are lined up right on the post like this, I'm going to hit Q to rotate it. I'm going to hit the right arrow key so it's locked into red, and I'm going to click here. Click. I'm going to click and drag all these guys down, and in this case it's actually going to be 33.7. Enter. And the reason that happens is if you look straight across this now, they're right in line with that red rafter. So these guys are in the right position. Now we have to cut them down. So if we just made another original polygon, let me go back and grab my polygon here. I'm going to click and drag it up. Make sure it's on the axis. I'm going to go kind of big. I'm going to, let's say, I think the radius, I'm just going to tell the radius to be about 120, enter. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create a chopping object to chop those guys. We'll draw a line. Well, apparently I can't find the center, so I'm just going to go corner, oh, there it is. Corner to corner, we'll do that. And then I could go here to the center. Or I could go all the way across. But what we want here is basically this. We're going to erase this line. And then we'll make this a group. Yep. And then I'm going to move it. I could move it right to this. Well, I could move it right. You have one of two things. I could move it right to the center up here on the top. Or I could hide the post. And then grab this group and move this point right to the point. It has to make sure it's really right on the point of this. Okay. Now when you edit this group, double click it, we'll hit P for push pull. We'll pull this up in the air and we'll just go up like, just so it goes through everything. So it looks like this. However, you can see it's not lined up with the face of this. We want to cut all these guys off. I'll make these roof rafters here. I'll paint them whatever, I'll paint them green. Right, so I've got these green roof rafters. We want to cut these guys off right along this face here. You can see that this big chunky thing we just drew is not there. So what we actually have to do is move it forward 1.5 inches. So what I'm going to do is take this guy, I'm going to move this point, move it forward on green, I click it and I'm going to tell it to go 1.5, enter. And now you can see it's right up against that. That's why it's flashing. It's right up against that. Okay. If these guys are outside the component, which they are right now, I can do it, the cut right here. I can just say, go to subtract, third one, and subtract this big guy from these guys. It has to be one group versus another group. And that's going to cut those off correctly. And then, here's my big component. Then we're going to take these guys and we're going to cut them out. You could always right click and hit that scissors to cut them out. Then we're going to hit the space bar, double click the component, right click and paste it in. Fourth one here, it's going to come in. And I don't have the copies of the component here, but I'm going to move a copy over and do the rotation really fast. So you can see what it looks like with them in there. Now I'm going to hit Q Alt to rotate copies off this point. Rotate a copy over, tell it to go 60, enter, times 5, because we already have one, X5, enter. And this is crazy. This is built with I was using a copy of something to do this. So your drawing, again, if I edit one of these components, I'm going to take these guys out. We should be there with the roof framing. The other way I could do this is even before I cut that. I'm going to undo this for a second. Before I put them in the component, I could cut these guys off. This is actually a little different than the other video, but if I took a rectangle off of this, and I just went out here like this, there's red, there's green, just green rectangle like this, doesn't matter how big it is. So if I do this before I put those green rafters in there, I can pull this out, because we want to cut those rafters off along that plane. Make this a group, because it's got to be group versus group. And now I could say subtract this big chunky thing, so third one, click on that, I just cut those off. It's probably better to do it this way, and then cut these guys out and get inside the component and paste them in. And you can tell it works because if you look kind of down the line here like this, these guys, ooh, I didn't pull it up high enough. Not good. Undo. What I should have done was taken this, make sure that this is big enough to really chop through all those guys. It was a little short. Right. Now it's going to work. Subtract this from these guys. And when I look down the line here, I should see all these guys, including the red one, line up on the same line, like that. They're all cut off equally that way. Now I'll see if I can do the rotation really fast. Move a copy over. Come in here, hit Q Alt, select this guy. Q Alt off the center point. Make sure it's really the very end point there. Click there. Click here, anywhere. Move the copy over, click it in, tell it to go 60, enter, times 5, X5, enter. All right. I stole this from another drawing, so I think. So your drawing probably at this point looks like this.